Hello lovelies. So today I have a 12 by 12 mixed media scrapbook page for you using a collection of Sk8r stamps, stencils and some chipboard little skater dudes, which are pretty cool. So when I saw these skater dudes on the website, I knew I had to use them because I had some pictures of my youngest that I thought would be absolutely perfect. So they're the ones I'm going to use today. And I knew I wanted to start with a big area of colour in my background. And when you see the photos, you'll see why I've chosen the colour palette I have. So I'm starting with some Distress Stain because this was the perfect colour that I wanted. And what I did is I put some down on a piece of just acetate, acrylic type thing. Just, you know, the part that comes with your stamps that you don't use. I keep those because they make really good little palettes. And I have splodged my Distress Stain on that, and then I have used my favourite mop brush. It is a very, very big mop brush, and I've just applied that colour all over my background. I did spritz my background with some water first because I always do like to apply wet on wet. I find that that is the best way to get that movement and that flowy look that I like so much. So I did that a couple of times. And then, so as not to waste anything, I flicked what was left on my acetate piece onto my background just so I could get some little splatters. Now, I wanted to use a stencil, but I didn't want to spray through it, if that makes sense. One of my favourite things to do with stencils is to spray them on something else and then use them like a stamp, as you can see here. I really loved the pattern of this stencil, but I didn't want to spray through it with my black ink because, well, that wasn't the look I was after. But I loved the lines and the geometric shapes of this. So what I did is I got an art journal, I sprayed some of my black ink on top of the stencil in an art journal, and then what was left on the stencil I applied to my background like a stamp, and it really did give me the look I was going for. It looks great. I really do love how my background came together. So now I'm just getting a mixture of some stamps. I love the foam stamps from Sk8r. They just give such really good impressions. I'm using a number collage, some chevrons, and then just some random circles. I will link to all these products in the blog post, and I'll link the blog post in the description of the video so you can go check those out. Now, these are the chipboard skater dudes. Now, I absolutely love these. If you haven't worked out yet, my palette is blue and black. And in the photos that I took of my boy, there's 3 photos, 2 that I did landscape, 1 that I did portrait. And in the background, there is this big graffiti in blue and black, and so that's where I'm drawing my color palette from. And so I wanted to do these in black paint because I just really wanted them to pop off that background. So I just got some black paint and sponged it on with a makeup sponge, and they dry really quickly, I have to admit. And I really do love the look these have when they're in black. It's just a really great silhouette. I wasn't sure which ones I was going to use, so I did just paint all of them. And because I have a feeling I'm probably going to use them in black again anyway, and if not, it'll be easy enough to paint over and do it again if I need them in a different color. So here's my background. It does look like a bit of a hot mess, but that pretty much was what I was going for because I really did want that grungy graffiti style. If you can see, when you go to a skate park, the bowl is always covered in graffiti, and I don't know, it felt like that really worked for this layout. And I really did just want to go to town on my big blue area with lots of black stamping and stenciling. So I was really happy with how it turned out. So I'm working with 3 photos. I've made them all roughly 3 by 4 size. So I've got my 2 landscape, and then I'm going to pop up my middle picture, which is my portrait, put it on some cardboard so it's got a bit of dimension. And then that's my little focal image there with my photos. I'm marking them off so I know where they are because I was really happy with the placement. And if you're anything like me, if I take them off and put them back down, they're never in the same place. So I'm cheating and putting some mark down. And yes, so yes, the chipboard dudes are skater dudes on skateboards, and my son is on a scooter. But I wasn't too fussed with this. It still gave me the same effect I was after. I was still happy to use them on this layout. So I've put my middle photo up on some cardboard, and I have sort of propped it up, overlapping my two photos a little bit. That is because, one, I did want my photos closer together, and two, I just really liked the look it gave because the photos are very, very similar. So I'm just drawing a doodly border with my Futurewall pen. I wanted a thicker black border because it really matches all of those thick geometric lines I've got in the background. And then I'm going to work on my title. So with my title, I did something a bit different. I knew I wanted a graffiti style. So yes, I went really original with my title, and I went with Sk8r Boy. And yes, every time I thought of it, I had the Avril Lavigne song stuck in my head, but I really wanted to use that as my title. And so what I did is I downloaded a couple of graffiti fonts onto my computer. I typed up the word Sk8r Boy in a couple of fonts, printed them out on some cardstock, and then I decided which one I went with. I actually ended up with one that I didn't think I'd go with. This is probably just one of the ones I thought I'd try, but in the end, I actually liked how it looked. So what I'm going to do is I fussy cut them out. I fussy cut out all the letters, and then I'm going to glue them down. Now, this worked well for me because I wanted specifically the spray paint graffiti style type font, and I don't have any thickers like that. I don't even know if thickers like that exist. But anyway, so this was an easy workaround for me, and it really helped that there wasn't many letters in my title. When I cut them out, I was intending to cut out the insides of all the letters. I was going to get my craft knife and cut them out, but in the end I didn't, because having that white space inside my letters really helps the title stand out from that big blue and black background. I thought that if I had have cut them out, my letters might not have stood out as much, which is why in the end I left it. Plus it made it a lot easier to do my title. This is where I'm going to come in with those Sk8r Dude chipboard pieces. It took me a few goes to figure out what I was going to use and where I was going to use them, but in the end, I love these two. These two worked really well. The placement worked well as well. It doesn't look like they're just floating in midair. It looks like this one's resting on the photo, and it looks like the dude down the bottom is hanging from that number 6. So that was a nice, happy little accident. Using the Sk8r Dudes was pretty much the only embellishing I did to this layout, but because I've got all of that detail in the background of my mixed media background, it really works. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll be back real soon. Bye for now.